We're getting educated. Even during the break, the interview has started. All right, so 2 days ago, the Gleaner published an article warning against the use of what is called the magic mushroom. But what exactly is that and how is it being used? We've got with us founder of Myco Meditations, Eric Osborne, Director of Operations, Courtney McClure, and research analyst at the NCDA, National Council on Drug Abuse, Uki Atkinson, with us. Good morning to you.
Morning,
Thank you for
everyone.
being here this morning. Nev just asked you a question and you were going in, so what's the question?
Yep, the question was, what is Myco Meditation?
What is Myco Meditations? Well, that's really a big, big question. And before I answer that, I would like to say that myself and Myco Meditations are in Jamaica, not because of psilocybin or because of the laws here, but because when I was 11 years old, I saw a picture of Bob Marley and I said, that's my people. I didn't even know who it was, but I knew that's where I belonged and that was my people. So I came to Jamaica 17 years ago just because I love Jamaica, the culture, the people. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not a businessman actually at all. I am a cultivator of mushrooms and an educator around psilocybin. So I'm here in Jamaica first and foremost because I love Jamaica and then the opportunity to bring this amazing medicine to the world from this place that I love so much is really such a blessing. So Myco Meditations is a retreat program that is designed to help people who are suffering with various, I don't want to say illnesses, but challenges. Treatment-resistant depression, crippling anxiety. We work with terminally ill cancer patients, people who have been addicted to alcohol, tobacco, and other substances. So our program is really an immersive experience to educate people around the benefits of psilocybin and expose them to the benefits of psilocybin.
Psilocybin that's a magic mushroom?
Psilocybin is the active chemical in many species of mushroom. Psilocybe is the largest genus of mushroom that contain psilocybin. It is a completely non-toxic compound. It is an analog to serotonin, which is a natural molecule in the brain, the happiness molecule. So.
What is it supposed to do, Courtney? What is the psilocybin supposed to do? So Eric spoke to some of the quote-unquote illnesses or conditions or challenges.
Conditions, right.
What is it supposed to do for those challenges?
So,
what's the value proposition here?
So psilocybin mushrooms, when you take psilocybin mushrooms, for me, I like to describe it as a shift in perspective. So mushrooms, the experience can help you see the thought patterns that you experience in your day-to-day life in a new way. So kind of brings these subconscious ways that your mind is operating, brings that to the front so you can see, okay, this thought that I have every day, maybe I could think a little bit differently. Maybe I could shift my thinking this way or that way, and it just brings all those things that we're not aware of in our day-to-day life and brings them to the forefront. So it's just an awareness tool.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure folks are watching.
So we have a structure in our brain known as the default mode network, and that is kind of these patterns that Courtney talks about, the way we think, the way we see the world, the way we respond to situations, right? And so one of the things that psilocybin does from a physiological standpoint is it limits the blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, which kind of shuts down that default mode network. Now, the default mode network can also be considered an information filter. And when it is shut down, then more information is actually allowed in. Right now, we're surrounded by billions of bytes of information. We cannot process it all. So when we shut that filter down, then we can access information about our personal histories more readily, about our environment, many, many things. And so that provides the insight into how to work through depression and anxiety and maybe how to change your approach in life.
Yeah. You keep the National Council of Drug Abuse. What's your take on all of this?
So our perspective is, first of all, the existence of these mushrooms has been around for centuries. People have used them in healing and religious ceremonies. And it's not new to Jamaica either. Our information tells us that it's been here for over 100 years. The concern would be the effects are not all good. So there are persons who take psilocybin mushrooms and they have adverse effects. These could include acute psychotic reactions. It can include auditory and visual hallucinations. So similar to what? It's a hallucinogenic substance. So similar to LSD, which was acid taken in the 50s and 60s.
People trip?
And it can give you a bad trip. So the effects may be very subjective, depending on your metabolism, depending on, the state of mind that you're in when you take it and so on. So the concern would be, while we recognize the therapeutic benefits, there are studies across the UK, across the US that have been proven that, it is effective for the treatment of depression, as they just said, but it's not for everybody.
How is it ingested? Because I'm reading one. There are retreats where you have these what's it called? What do you call
Mushrooms?
the retreat? What do you call the retreat?
Sessions. We call the dosing periods sessions.
And these are people, but there are people who come down from abroad,
Yes, correct.
and pay a lot of money to attend these retreats to have this. One guy, Vince, he says it's a profound experience. I had a lot of visualizations that were animals, spirit kind of based. Like I saw different visions with animal spirits.
That's the hallucinogenic.
A good way to kind of look at it is just like a waking dream. It's very much like the dream state. It actually activates the REM eye movement, similar to sleep patterns. And so these visions that people kind of get, oh my God, I don't want to see a dragon or whatever. Things come up. They can be scary. They can be beautiful.
Right.
They
I was
can
going to ask if
but
that's normal.
that is the payoff. And that we spoke with one of your assistants backstage who said, oh, I had some mushrooms in California. The first time I ate them, it was great. The second time I ate them, all this emotional stuff came up and it was scary. But it ended up being really good because I got to revisit things that I had forgot about that were troubling me inside that I didn't remember. And so it's entirely true, it's being said about the potential risk, and that's why it's so important that it's managed carefully. So there's two things that I think are really important to express here to the Jamaican public.
And before you get there, Eric, how do you ingest it? You just eat the...
Just eat the mushrooms.
You just eat the
It's just
mushrooms.
okay.
And manage carefully means
Right. So careful management, first and foremost, is that you must know that you're consuming the right mushroom. I have a long history in cultivation of gourmet and medicinal mushrooms, and I could talk for hours about the benefits of cancer-fighting mushrooms, virus-fighting mushrooms, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but there are mushrooms that can absolutely kill you, and I have seen in Jamaica, I have seen people selling on the street mushrooms that were deadly toxic. I've taken that opportunity to try to educate them and let them know that no. The other thing is the situation management, and that's what my expertise is really in outside of education and cultivation. I have presided over, it's about 3,000, 4,000
I want to jump
right
in
now.
because we don't have a whole lot of time.
Sorry, yeah.
How do I know that this one is deadly toxic and that one isn't? I
Takes
don't.
some serious education.
So I
You
don't
go to
know
a
that.
certified mushroom expert
You've
and
got to
ask.
study, right.
But isn't that an issue also?
Therein lies the danger, because somebody might see a mushroom following this, outbreak of this information and say, oh, well, I want a high, let me pick this, and then it can
So what
kill you.
is the take on the council? What is the take? What are you telling Jamaica?
We
about
are
this?
not about creating public panic. Jamaicans are not typically consumers of mushrooms, just like how we're not typically injection drug users. So our surveys have not shown, and our treatment facilities and so on, people are not coming for the abuse of mushrooms. In fact, it is quite a low potential for abuse.
Absolutely.
That's what the evidence has shown.
You have to make yourself take mushrooms. It can be a very enjoyable
Where is
experience.
it found in Jamaica, by the way?
It grows internationally. It grows all over the world.
I know, but in Jamaica,
popularly
In the grill, Westmoreland, anywhere it's rainy and wet in the hills and cows and manure. But again, there are deadly toxic mushrooms that can grow alongside of these, so do not pick mushrooms and eat them if you do not know. There's plenty of field guides out there. I've obviously educated myself enough to know mushrooms that are safe and that are not. So it's not impossible, but it is not a plaything.
How do you
can die.
know what you're predisposed to and whether you will have an adverse experience?
That's a great question. That's why you need to be working with someone who has real expertise in this. So one of the things that I really work closely with my guests in is the dosing, what size dose they're going to take. It's not related to body size. It's more related to psychological history and
So
other
you counsel
factors.
them?
So we counsel them, and we have trained therapists that are a part of every
was my
single
next
retreat that we run.
Right.
We have a nurse on site for every retreat. We hire many Jamaicans, and we're hoping to hire many more. Really, what I hope that we can help Jamaica understand is that this can be a huge opportunity for Jamaica. This is one of the only places in the world where this medicine is open access right now, and it can benefit the Jamaican economy and the Jamaican health enormously.
Yeah, we have to go. You already answered the question that Simone asked about how do you take it, but what do? You just pick it up, you cook it, you heat it?
No, well, we cultivate them and then we administer them to our guests. So if you cook it, then it destroys the potency and that changes things. You can make them into teas, and some people do that, but it's hard to regulate dose that way. So it's just really important that you're working with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Okay,
I have
you
to
should
go.
have
No,
the
I was
answer.
going to bring up something entirely different,
Go.
which is the UN Convention on Psychotropic Substances. Jamaica is one of 183 countries signatory to that, and psilocybin and some preparations and so on fall under Schedule 1. Schedule 1 is considered maybe the most serious category, where the substances are considered to be a threat to public health and of low therapeutic value. Now, some of these things are changing with these international conventions, but it would have implications for us. We can't import mushrooms.
Right.
It has to be locally grown.
Right, but the Jamaican government has the authority to keep the mushrooms legal or to make them illegal. And if they're made illegal, then the access is gone. If they're legal, this extremely valuable medicine can be available.
This reminds me of the discussion about marijuana and CBD, and so I think there's much more to hear about
Oh, yeah,
this.
this is a big,
Yeah.
big topic.
Good to meet you both. And
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eric Osborne, founder of Micro Meditations, director of operations, Courtney McClure, and research analyst at NCDA. You can listen.
All right, stay with us. Guess who's here? When you see him, you see the hottest man around. Beanie Man.
Samir.
Not you.
Oh, is that me?
Moses
Well, I am the
Davis.
hottest man around.
Beanie Man drops
Beanie Man,
his
man,
new
Beanie
single.
Man. Beanie
After
Man, come and
this,
sit
we'll be
down.
right back.
It's Beanie Man. Joke the moment.
Don't be bad, man.